Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. It is the end of November now and the end of my trip here in the UK. So I have a stack of books. These are like physical books that I wanted to finish reading because my suitcase has to be like 32 pounds and I cannot take any extra weight. So these are the books that I'm working on reading and have to get done in the next couple of days because that is it. So I thought I would just go through them with you and tell you what I think about them so far. So the first one is A Brief History of Time by Stephen Hawking. So I picked this book up because I wanted to get more into science. I kind of wanted to exercise my mind a bit. I do a lot of, I read a lot of novels. So I'm not really learning anything new. I'm just kind of reading this. It's like romantic novels or fantasy novels. They're kind of the same story every time, or even contemporary novels. They're basically the same story every time, just like different font. And so I kind of wanted to read something different. So I picked this up. I think it was £2, 2.5 pounds. I got this in, I think, Canterbury. And I just kind of keep picking this up. I'm reading it in the bath. I'm about halfway through it. This book is so difficult. It's not difficult. I looked it up. People can read this in like 3 hours, but I'm just not the kind of person who actively reads this kind of information. And I haven't since I was an undergraduate. I did get a certificate in environmental studies and I minored in geography. So it's not like I am not new with this information, but I never took physics, and so a lot of this information was just kind of a lot of new principles that I kind of had to read and reread to understand. And I actually did like it because this is written for a popular audience. So this is written for like the layman to read. So I do feel like I am learning things about this. I was really excited when he started talking about like the color spectrum and like how light is, about like light in the color spectrum. And I was really excited to read about that. He talked about quarks and I was like, okay, so I finally understand what a quark is, because like I've always learned about them, but it never got in my mind until now. And I think that we put a lot of pressure on ourselves when we're younger to understand a lot of material. Like for me, like math and science were things that were so hard for me to grasp as when I was younger. But now that I've gotten older and my brain has kind of matured a bit and I have more time to like process information, that it becomes a lot easier to understand once you kind of take that step back and you release that pressure of like an exam or a paper or a presentation where you can just read it to understand and not read it to be graded. And I think that mindset kind of changed how I'm learning and how I'm going forward in the future. Is Love Poetry it's edited by John Stallworthy, and this is just this beautiful collection of poetry. There's John Wilmot, Robert Graves, there's Shakespeare, John Clare, Thomas Hardy. It's just this beautiful collection of love poetry. And I am a person who, there's Chester. I've always I've always enjoyed poetry in general. So when I saw this one, I also got this in Canterbury. I was very excited to pick it up. I think this one was 3.5 pounds. And as I've been reading through it, I'm just kind of like astonished by all these different like lenses that people can apply and describe and talk about emotions and love. So enjoyed this book so far. The next book that I am slowly reading through is The People in the Trees by Hanya Yanagihara. So I bought this book back in Rumford, so I've actually been carrying this around for a while. And I think I've just been getting distracted by reading other books. I thought I was going to savor this one to read it and get through it, but I just haven't had the attention to get into it. So this is one that I hope to read. Her other book, which I actually have it here, A Little Life. I loved this book. It kind of changed how I think about narrative and kind of the places you can take a novel. I think this is probably one of the most like darkest novels that I've ever read. And major trigger warnings to look up if you want to read it. But it was so amazing. She wrote this in 18 months and she wrote this one in 10 years. So I'm just like, where did she change her point of mind? But I want to keep this book because I want to read it again. But I also kind of want to keep this one just so I could start a Hanya Yonagahara collection. But I don't think I am. I think I'm going to read this and then donate it because I don't want to carry it around anymore. But I am excited. I thought her new book, Yonagahara's new book, I thought it was coming out in November of 2022. It's coming out January 11th, 2022. So that is fastly approaching. That's like a month and a half from now, about a month and a half from now, and I would be in the United States. So I think I might pre-order it. So by the time I get there, I can just pick it up, take it with me, but we'll see. Because it needs to be like there when I get there because I'm moving so shortly after that. The next book I have is The Ancient World. This is an illustrated history encyclopedia. I thought it was like Eyewitness or something, but it doesn't say. It's Herm's House, the publisher. But this is just like a general like overview of Egyptian history, the ancient world of Egypt, Greece, and Rome. But I thought it was really cool because it has activities and like things on how to like make things. And I thought, oh wow, that is so cool. I can use this in classes. I'm not going to use this in classes. I'm just going to read through this and then donate it. I got this down in Bognor Regis at a bookstore and I was excited. I was like, this looks fun. But yeah, gonna read through this one and donate it. And then the last book I read, which is actually the first book I read this month, is Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata. So Convenience Store Woman, I was so excited when I saw this book at the house that I was sitting at. It was a book I've wanted to read for a while, and I read it on the way to Canterbury in literally less than 2 hours. That book just kind of hooks its fingers into you. The book just like hooks itself into you and you kind of can't put it down until you finish reading it. So I really enjoyed it. And the kind of idea of this woman who feels like she is only made to work in the convenience store, that because they have like instruction videos, how she interacts with others is clearly like described for her. I was like, I relate to you more than I should right now. And I thought it was just like this amazing look of what it means to be a woman who's kind of having to fit everybody else's roles of what you should be into your own mind and kind of dealing with those expectations. Yeah. So those were the books I read in November. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a nice week and I'll talk to you later. Bye.